Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President and CEO of the Path to Purchase Institute, Peter Hoyt.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to the 14th Annual Shopper Marketing Summit. Thrilled to have you guys here. It's going to be an exciting couple of days. We have a record crowd. We've never had more guests at the summit than we have this year. I think the count that I got yesterday was, it was 632 of you, and you are the cream of the industry crop. 83% of you are members of the Institute, so thank you, members. Delighted to have you be a part of this. For the balance of you, just turn to your right or your left and ask one of the members why they like the Institute so much, and hopefully they'll give you an earful about how we try to help and support the industry every way we can. The majority of you are brands and retailers and agencies. Some 72% are manufacturers or retailers or agencies. So you represent probably billions of dollars of spending power, and I think it's a testament to some of the really important trends that are happening in the industry, and I'll touch on some of that. Whatever the case may be, whether you're manufacturer, brand, or retailer, or one of the many solution providers from all kind of a whole ecosystem of touch points on the path to purchase, we're just grateful to you for being here, for taking the trouble to make your way here. It's kind of funny coming here, right? You're going the wrong way when you leave the airport. I was looking at the architect's description of this place and how they did the interior design and the outside, and they talk about prairie grasses and wheat and blue skies, and I kind of saw a big building in the middle of nowhere, but whatever. It's actually a nice facility. When you get in, I'm a little surprised by how pleasant this place is, and I hope you all feel that way too. I've got a few things I want to just make sure that I cover on. One is, in addition to welcoming you to the summit, is to thank our sponsors. There are 33 companies whose logos are emblazoned here, and they are supporting this event in a whole bunch of different ways. There were 14 companies yesterday involved in a thing we call the Retail Academy, and you probably heard us talk about that. The Retail Academy has empowered 22 retail chains and 60 retail executives to be here among us, and they were all involved in back-to-back meetings yesterday, and the companies that underwrite and support that made it possible for us to have all of you retailers here as our guests. So we're thrilled to have you be a part of this, and thank you for carving time out of your day to be a part of that. Some of these logos are people that are session hosts, is what we call them, and you're going to meet an old friend of mine, Tina Manikas, shortly. FCB Red is a session host for these general sessions, and there are 4 other companies that are going to be introducing the sessions in the breakouts, and it's vital for us because we don't have enough staff to cover all the rooms, and these guys act as extensions of the Institute. They really dig in understanding the seminars that they're introducing and get to know the speakers that they're introducing, run the Q&A, just generally keep things on track, and we're grateful to them. Another 16 of these logos are upstairs in the hallway in what we're calling the Solutions Gallery. And if you haven't seen that no-nonsense guide to the Solutions Gallery, I encourage you to curl up with that a little bit, because it'll really give you a chance to decide. And it's our editors wrote it, and it's basically they get down to it. What do these guys do? Why does it matter? Who do they work with? And what are a few questions you might ask them to start a conversation with any of them? It's a great way, an efficient way to decide which of those companies you want to go in and really talk to, because you're not going to probably not have time to talk to all of them. But don't cheat yourself. If you've got a few minutes, just go in and introduce yourself to any of the companies in the Solutions Gallery, and you'll learn something, and you'll be glad that you spent a little time on that. I'm particularly keen on thanking 60 more people, and those are our speakers. There are 33 sessions between the 2 symposiums yesterday and the keynotes, and general sessions, and all the breakout sessions. There are 33 presentations that are going to be being given by 60 people, and these are folks who are experts in their field, who have stepped forward to share their insights and really make all the difference in the world for the industry. This sort of reminds me, and I'm sorry, this is sort of going to sound crabby, but I want to say this, and I want to have your help with this. It's a request. It's also a requirement. There can be no photography. During the keynotes, during the breakouts, you can't take out your phone and take a picture of their slides. What happens when one person does that is 300 people do that. And all these people are volunteers. Nobody gets paid to share their thoughts with you, not a dime. So these people are doing this for all the right reasons. They're not getting that much fame. They're one of 60 pictures here, right? So they're not getting that much fame. They're doing it to help the industry move forward. If they want you to have their deck, they'll share their deck with you. Or you can ask them afterwards if they'll share their deck with you. But you can't just help yourself to it. And I know millennials, that's just the worst thing. And you have a camera and you want to use it, but you can't use it for that. Just turn it around and take another selfie. Very happy to announce that next year, the Shopper Marketing Summit is going to return to New York City. We had our very first Shopper Marketing Summit. There we hear from the East Coast crowd. We had our very first Shopper Marketing Summit in New York City in 2002. And then for 13 years, we've been here in Chicago or Greater Chicago in ever bigger facilities. Next year, we're going to be in the Grand Hyatt right next to Grand Central Station. And for me, it's sort of personally thrilling. My very first job, right out of school, Boston College, go Eagles, right out of school, I was on 205 East 42nd Street, and I used to walk by that hotel, which was a Trump property then, very shiny, and I went to an industry event in their grand ballroom, and it was spectacular. I mean, the whole thing was such a scale. I didn't even know things like that happened, and the idea that shopper marketing is going there, that we're going to be around the corner from the canyons of Madison Avenue, across the street from where the Effie Gala is held every year, it really feels like we've arrived. And I don't think this is small potatoes, but that's a big deal. And we're excited about it, and I hope you guys will join us there and be a part of that and help us celebrate the 15th anniversary of the Shopper Marketing Summit there next year. Let's get to the moment, though, the present, and talk a little bit about this event. I'd like you to think for just a second about why you're here. There was something that motivated you to register for this, to get approval or get the money, to make your travel plans. You're here pretty early this morning, so you've been thinking about this for a while. Why did you do this? Did you do it because there were a few presentations that you really wanted to see? You probably got something to sell, you wanted to talk to somebody or bump into somebody. There's any number of reasons. They're all valid reasons. Let me tell you why I think we hope you're here. I hope you're here, or that the result of you being here will be that you develop an appreciation for the fact that shopper marketing is essential. The fundamental building blocks of future growth will be derived from shopper marketing. It is, if in your organization, if you're selling any kind of consumer good, it is essential that you understand and infuse your organization with the principles of shopper marketing. You're not going to get growth a lot of other ways. And if you can't understand how this works within your whole organization, you could falter, you could fail, your company could fail if you don't understand this and learn how to embrace it and work it into your organization. In Minneapolis, on the main stage at the Shopper Marketing Expo last fall, my colleague Patrick Fitzmaurice went on stage and announced that we're going to launch the Path to Purchase Leadership University. And we're doing this, developing formal courses to understand all aspects of shopper marketing so we can enable as many of you as possible and your colleagues to understand deeply the fundamentals of all aspects of shopper marketing so that we can lay an even greater foundation of understanding so that we can help you help your companies incorporate shopper marketing in what you do. And so far, it's going really well. We introduced our first two courses in Bentonville, 2 full-day courses, exactly 1 month ago. After that, we were invited by a major beverage company to offer training to 700 of their distributors and employees, and that got rave reviews. Yesterday, we introduced a 3rd course yesterday afternoon to a sellout crowd, and I've looked through some of the comments that we got, and they wrote us like love letters. It's great. We got great feedback from that. We've got 3 more courses in development right now. They'll be coming out in the coming weeks. We're going to be presenting various courses in the next weeks and months in Cincinnati, Minneapolis, Atlanta, New York, Chicago again by next October. So we're rolling right along. We're not doing it alone. When we announced the university, we immediately got show of support from A.T. Kearney, Catapult, the Mars Agency, and Shoptology, who are really digging in to help us develop the content, to make sure that it's right, to make sure that it's immensely useful for people who take the course. It's interesting about things like this. Like our speakers, there's no compensation for these guys. There's no big business deal here. They're doing it because they want it to be good, they want it to be solid, and they're doing it for all the right reasons. So I salute those 4 companies, certainly, for their willingness to help us. You know, what happens with this university thing is so interesting to me because it's really different than anything we've done before. Many of you have known us for a long time, and I've been a part of this for 27 years. And with the original launch of POP Times magazine that became Shopper Marketing and begot the Institute and all the things that we represent today. And in all that time, we've really been reporters. We're at our core, we're journalists. If you look at any copy of Shopper Marketing magazine, there's a little bit of editorial in there, but for the most part, our editors are thinking about what's important, what's going on out there that you might need to know about in either news or articles. They're trying to present a balanced view. We get different quotes. They're always attributed. We try to run it like the New York Times, frankly, for our beat and offer an unbiased view with very little opinion about what we think things are or how they should be done. If you think about this event, except for that course that the university offered yesterday, all of the courses that are or sessions that are offered here and in previous years aren't being taught by us. We're organizing speakers. We had 200 proposals to speak at this, and we vetted them, and we culled them, and we organized them in tracks, and we tried to make it so it would be effective and attractive for you. But we weren't infusing our opinion. We're just letting other people say things and letting you draw your own conclusions. That's been our MO all along. But when you launch a university, you basically have to drive a stake in the ground. That's us driving a stake in the ground. You see me in the middle, and I think that's Patrick Fitzmaurice with the cap, and Steve Frenda's any hoodlum that you wanted back there. And so you put a stake in the ground and you say, this is the way it is. This is what shopper marketing is. This is how you do it. This is what an insight is. This is why an insight means anything. This is how manufacturers should relate to retailers or retailers to manufacturers. We're declaring, based on our best knowledge and all the resources that we have, that this is the right way to do it. And it's not static, it will evolve, but it's different. It's very different, and it's exciting to do it. And it's giving us more confidence, giving us conviction. I mean, a lot of these things we knew, we just hadn't stated them, and now we're stating them as facts. Here's a definition that we give in Shopper Marketing 101. It takes a whole day to explain this. Not just to explain it, but through exercises and discussion to help the students in the Shopper Marketing 101 course understand the full aroma of what this phrase means or can mean in an organization, a cross-functional discipline designed to improve business performances by using actionable insights to connect with shoppers and influence behavior along the path to purchase. Just a few words, but it means a lot. And I can't take all day to explain it to you now, but I do want to focus in on the very first part, this cross-functional discipline thing. It's really important because it's without it, shopper marketing doesn't flourish. And let me help you understand that. First of all, I can tell you this with absolute conviction. If you're selling consumer goods, whether you're a retailer or a manufacturer, you can no longer advertise your way to success. Those days are gone. It doesn't work anymore. You can't just go for affinity. You also have to understand how to get people to buy your product. You can't just go for impressions. You have to get people to buy your product. And you have to understand how to connect with them in very fundamental ways, or you won't succeed with that. Organizations resist change. Organizations are usually organized around silos, and that's important. That's how you scale a business. But silos resist change, and they tend, when threatened by change, whether it's good or not, all change is perceived as a threat by larger organizations. They tend to try and marginalize concepts and businesses. So one way that we've noticed, and it's not everywhere, certainly shopper marketing is flourishing a lot of places, but one thing that we've noticed is that a sort of a institutional reaction or tactic to shopper marketing is to try and marginalize it, to make it a department. When you make it a department, it starts to feel like the old sales promotion departments. You have to justify every program by telling us whether or not it paid out. That's what we did with sales promotion. But you can't do that with shopper marketing. That's not what shopper marketing is all about. Coca-Cola uses an acronym, RORR, Return on Retail Relationship. So the RORR means we did that program and we want to measure it about whether or not we think it succeeded based on the cost and then the return that we got. But did it advance our relationship with that retail partner? Because what they know is when they have a fully bloomed relationship with a retail partner and they're working together in a virtuous cycle of identifying segments, working on integrated communications, measuring the impact and traffic and sales, that they get better data from that retailer. They get better data faster from that retailer. They get more help working together to interpret that better, faster data. And the relationship is strong and powerful and usually at the expense of a competitor. And so the value of shopper marketing is not necessarily in lift as much as it is in the relationship. If you're a retailer, you can just look at it through the other lens. If you can't advertise your way to success anymore, let me go back to that point for just a second. I'll tell you another story. 2.5 weeks ago, there was a guy in my office. We spent an hour and a half together. He's a senior executive from a large non-foods company that you all know. And this guy's a heavy hitter, right? Ivy League undergrad, Ivy League MBA, been in the industry for 30 years. And we were working on some stuff together. And at the end of the meeting, he sort of sighed, and I don't think he meant to do this. I think he didn't think he was saying it out loud. He said, "I wish you guys didn't exist." And I thought, dude, that's so rude. You're in my office. Why would you say that? And I said, why would you say that? And he said, "I don't mean that. I mean, I wish you didn't have to exist." He said, anytime before 8 or 9 years ago, we never even thought about retailers. I mean, we never even thought about retailers. We would come up with new products. We'd develop campaigns. We'd drop an FSI and run an ad in their circular and literally line up train cars outside the major markets to fulfill the demand. And it just happened. Retail was a distribution point. He said 8 or 9 years ago, they got to be a speed bump. We had to start thinking about the bigger ones anyway and customize our programs and kind of satisfy their needs. And he said, now they're a brick wall. We can't get to our consumers unless we go through our retail partners. And he said, we need the Institute. You guys help us a lot in understanding this new world order, but I just wish you didn't have to exist. And if you're a retailer and you think of it from the other perspective, then life isn't any better. It used to be that you could let the manufacturer run the ads and drop an ad in the circular and run an FSI, and you could watch all the product fly out the door. But those days are gone. They've got channel blurring. There's a fundamental threat from e-commerce. Did you see that report last week from the Boston Consulting Group that they did with Google and the GMA? And if there's a few points tick up for CPG and e-commerce, it could eat away almost entire margins of some retail organizations. So there's a fundamental threat to retailers out there that is not different than what this poor guy was opining in telling me about our existence. There's a consulting firm down in Atlanta called Retail Strategy Partners. Some of you guys might know Robert Kennedy or Craig Capozzo, who are the principals of that firm. And they're fond of saying that if shopper marketing isn't working in your organization, it's not the shopper marketing. And whether you're a retailer or a manufacturer, it's the case is the same. When their firm is called in to help companies align with shopper marketing, and they're also called in to help companies fix shopper marketing if it's not working in their organization. And they have 10 different areas that they study in any organization. And it's interesting to me that the majority of them, like 7 out of the 10, aren't in shopper marketing, because the problem's not usually in shopper marketing. The resistance comes from, it could be store ops or merchandising in a retail organization or the brand organization or sales organization. The brands generally don't appreciate or understand the power that retail represents or the magnitude of these larger customers. And the salespeople are uncomfortable selling with that kind of data or explaining insights, and so they just want to resist it and push back. And it is our job to fight back against that, to make sure that it doesn't become an obstacle or a hurdle that can't be overcome. It's our job to make sure that we continue to push forward, because connecting with the shopper is essential to the future of your organization. The way we look at it, the way we preach it within the Institute is that you have to view this as a discipline. It has to be a multifunctional discipline. It has to be throughout your organization. And if it's not, what you need to do is try and put the brakes on and help figure out what has to happen in your organization to make sure that the brand organization understands it, the sales organization understands it, that merchandising or store ops can understand what to do with this. And so that's really why we hope you're here. Tonight you're going to hear some examples. If you're joining us for the gala this evening, I guess I can't say gala because that's the Effie word, but for the award ceremony this evening, we're going to announce 13 winners of Effie Awards. There were a lot of entries, but the judges narrowed it down to 13 winners. Nobody knows yet which one's gold, silver, or bronze. And I know those distinctions matter, but the point difference between them isn't very large. It's a pretty close contest. And I can tell you that all 13 of these programs fit the definition that I shared with you before. They're based on actionable insights. They influence the shopper along the path to purchase. They drive business results. As far as the cross-functional piece goes, in the same ceremony tonight, we're going to induct 3 new people into the Shopper Marketing Hall of Fame. And Amy, Dave, and Dirk are living what I'm explaining to you now. They're working with their organizations. They're at different stages, certainly at SCJ and LG and Heineken, but every one of them understands the necessity of having shopper marketing permeate the organization as a fundamental tenet to future success for their organization, and we're honoring them tonight for that. So my hope for you as a guest at this year's summit is that something that you'll hear from this stage or in any of the sessions that you attend or a meeting that you have or a conversation that you have will inspire you and help you see the bigger picture and the absolute necessity of driving shopper marketing forward in your organization so that your organization understands and integrates with your traditional marketing efforts the need for understanding the shopper, connecting with the shopper, and driving a deeper understanding of serving the shopper through shopper marketing. And with that, I will say thank you and good luck today.